Yechi Hamelech, people, this is my friend here. We're going to be talking about a couple topics connecting to different communities and different things. So, his name is Mathis. What's his name? Mathis, and I'm Yossi. Yechi Hamelech. Let's go. So you're saying you have a big interest in Judaism, but you're still not. When you said it's expensive, who's asking for money?
Well, there are not many ways you can formally convert here in Denmark. There's two main organizations, and I don't remember what it is in US dollars, but it's a few $100 for the entire process of converting. So I decided not to go with a formal conversion.
Okay, so, but I just want to point out to you that there's ultra-Orthodox. There's, just like in the government, you have different groups and you have different people that represent the government. Like, you can get a paper from the actual government for $10, but if you want an agency to do it for you, they'll charge you $300. And then you have agencies which are not even real. They'll just they'll fake you a document for $10. So in the Jewish conversion, there's a lot of levels and schemes and stuff. So you have to know that you're in the right group of people when you're actually serious.
That converts most people. It's a liberal agency. I mean, they're pretty nice people, but I'm not a liberal Jew in any way.
So maybe you should try finding Orthodox a community to try go with. You might have a little more success with them.
Yeah, but there aren't many Jews in Denmark in general, not anymore at least. So if I wanted to have a formal conversion, if I found it necessary at some point, I'd probably move to another place to do it there.
Okay, so let's talk about the topic at hand. Go ahead, ask me any question you want.
Right, so actually, when I first put a comment on your video, I made an entire list of questions that I was going to ask you, and I lost it. But I remember some of them. My first main question is, because we were talking about the topic of homosexuality, we were talking about the Orlando shooting, and I saw that you had quite a bit of backlash from Jews also in your comments, but never mind that. But if we say that homosexuals are sinners, which I would consider them, and you said that you didn't you weren't saddened about the fact that homosexuals had died because they were sinners or because they were abominations of God. So if that's the way we're going about this, should we just accept sinners to be killed, or should we try to steer them in another direction? I mean, is it easy to just kill sinners? Like, aren't we all sinners?
So to answer that question, let me go with a couple angles over here. Number one, like someone told me, even if you want to say that that these people were sinners, but at the same time, who are you to decide if they actually committed the sin? Every single person in the room was committing a sin. Maybe there was a couple guys sweeping the floor. Maybe there were people that were learning the Bible there. You never know. Maybe it was an underground yeshiva. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm saying you never know. You never know what was going on. So how can you just assume things so quickly? So my answer to that is, obviously, we're not talking about a situation where there was a court of law and the ruling went in one favor and I'm like, yeah, I agree with the rabbis that said that. No. The situation was completely heavenly in the aspect of the fact that no human interference on a normal level was involved. We're not going to get into the fact that later it became clear that the murderer was gay himself and was giving revenge on the people in the bar for getting sick, and that's what he was doing. But we're not going to get into that right now. Let's stick with the facts. God created a scenario which actually happens very often in these communities, which they murdered each other basically, or a terrorist murdered them for the same sake. You're calling it different labels and stickers. But what I was saying is, look how God naturally. What happens is people are very scared when you tell them that God runs the world. It scares them. It scares them because they actually think that they run the world. Private people like to think that they run the world. So when you tell them, hey, look, there's a passage that comes to pass quite regularly, or I'm not, I said in my video, I'm not encouraging violence. I'm just looking back at a scenario, looking at the Bible, and just seeing how God runs the world, whether you like it or not. He doesn't even need mankind to intervene. He could have mankind intervene, but he doesn't need them to intervene. On a different way of looking at things, a gay Jew or whatever, confused gay Jew, if you might, was messaging with me a while, and he told me not every person that's gay necessarily is involved in mishkav zachar, which means man lying with a man. So, he was saying it's more of a syndrome that some people can get married and live happy lives, and they just happen to be attracted to men. So there's no real isser over there. So I was saying, okay, obviously in my video it's clear that I didn't know that, or I wasn't referring to that. I was referring to the fact that it was called a gay club. So he said, well, someone else told me there can be a hotel that's called the Dog Hotel, but it just means that they let people with dogs into their rooms and they don't mind if they poop on the floor. So I mean, you wouldn't name the hotel Dog Hotel, I would assume. I'm not in the community. I don't know these things. So you wouldn't name, in my head, you don't name a dog hotel just because you're going to take a few dogs in. So this club was called Gay Club, and every single person that was sympathizing with them was saying, and we sympathize with the community, with them specifically. And I was saying, hey, there's a difference between innocent civilians being rammed in the street than let's say ISIS killing itself, or an abomination to God. That's what I said over there, that all Muslims, Jews, and Christians should be on the same page in this area.
Yeah. One of the things that I usually get kind of late for is I don't think that sexuality exists as a constant for heterosexuals or homosexuals. I think everyone can at some point have same-sex attractions or opposite-sex attractions. So when you say that if you're gay, you have no possibility of ever finding a woman you love or finding any alternative to a homosexual lifestyle, I definitely agree with that. I definitely agree. Some Jews I've talked to who are homosexual definitely try to do it. But that's besides the point. And another thing I thought about is you said this shooter was a Muslim or an Arab, I don't remember, that this is fine, that if he did it, you wouldn't do it personally because you were Jew, which is good. I agree with that. But since he's a Muslim, that's okay because he kind of did it for us. So should we just have non-Jews kill for us and do all the things that we're not going to do?
No, what I was trying to say was that unlike, Christians, for example, they believe in Trinity. There's God, the Holy Spirit, and someone else, and whatever. It's complicated.
Yeah, the Son, Father, Holy Spirit.
Whatever, yeah. So they basically, in our terms, it's called idolatry. It's basically you take God and you limit him into a human being, into a form. I'm not saying that Islam is the best religion in the world, but I am saying that what Islam and Judaism have in common is that we believe in one God.
Exactly.
So when I was saying that, is what I meant to say is, if him as a Muslim is killing in the name of God, I don't kill in the name of God, and the Jewish people don't kill in the name of God because we're in exile. But he as a Muslim, if he was doing, I don't know, you see, it comes out that he was gay and he was just doing revenge on them. He wasn't doing it he wasn't a real terrorist doing it in the name of God. Most terrorist acts would be against God, regardless of the fact that they're screaming it in the name of God. They can go kill innocent children, or do all kinds of things in the name of God, and it has nothing to do with God. They'll go kill someone that married their sister because he didn't ask them. That's not against God. God allows you to marry someone without asking your brother or your father. Right? So that's not in the name. But here in this scenario, if I was saying that if he's a Muslim and he's doing it because it's an abomination to God, then he happens to be right. That's what I was saying. He happens to be right this time. Not that every time they're right. Obviously, again, I condemn terror and I'm not pro-terror. And again, I was also looking at all this on condition that it was God spinning everything to make that it all ends up in this specific scenario. And it wasn't in a church, or it wasn't even in a mosque. It wasn't in a place of worship. It was in a specific place that's against God. It wasn't, So again, I was specifically making a difference between a random terror attack and this terror attack. But again, people were again assuming that I'm trying to be judge and prosecutor. I was giving them this the religious Jews that I know. I was giving them this parable. It says that when Messiah comes, we're gonna have a large bull and a large whale are gonna have a fight. And the whale is going to slaughter the bull, and then we're going to eat from the bull. And the question arises, how can we eat from the bull if it wasn't slaughtered according to halacha, right? It wasn't slaughtered with a knife and everything. And the answer is that all those laws only apply when a man slaughters. But if God is slaughtering it in a special way, so then those laws don't apply. That's going to be the verdict when Messiah comes, and why we're going to be able to eat from the bull. So I was saying, if there would be a case, a court case, and really, they were judging someone, then the situation would be different. I'm just looking back, and I'm also just suggesting the look of a believer that God runs this world. That's all. Okay. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, maybe we should talk a bit about how do you think he would react if he was alive today, or if he was alive physically today? How do you think he would react to this text? Do you think he would stone or condemn it?
So Rabbi Schneerson actually already spoke about this when the first time they started making laws pro-gay and whatever. And what he said is that someone that's gay and wants to live up to the gay, basically take it from the fact that he's gay and go get married and continue in that way, is like a sick person that is suggesting that he be allowed to jump off the roof. And the question here is, should we let him jump off the roof or should we not let him jump off the roof? Obviously, someone will say the right thing to do is give him medical care and get him back on track. Why are you letting him kill himself? So for the Rebbe basically said it in those words. The Rebbe said that for a gay person to be allowed to continue his fantasies is like taking a patient and allowing him to kill himself. So, and I spoke to a doctor which told me that, for example, a woman came to him, and I wrote this in my comments if I'm not mistaken. A woman came to him and she said, I'm growing bald and I'm not having my period. So the doctor gave her specific medication according to what she was missing in her blood, and she grew back her hair regularly and her period came back because she was missing specific stuff in her blood that was making her feel like a man. So it can be a medical thing and it could be a medical thing. And I also mentioned, I don't know, not everyone agrees with me on this, but the big agenda of depopulation, which if you push the gay agenda, then the depopulation works. Meaning it's not a good agenda to push, because ask any gay person, your parents were gay or were your parents straight? Obviously your parents were straight, or at least you were born in a straight way. It's not like you're saying, oh, we have this ancient community, thousands of years old, that's being condemned by the Jewish religion. That's just
Yeah. You're Trump supporter, right?
Yeah, between other things. I see the Rebbe as being Moshiach. I see the Rebbe as being the ultimate salvation for humanity. I see Trump as being a nice step forward for certain people. What else? Do you have any other questions on the video, or maybe whatever? I don't know.
I have the things we can talk about definitely. I don't know if I have much more on that video, because I think you pretty much answered the questions I had in regards to that video. It makes sense what message you're trying to give. Whether or not I personally agree with it, that's irrelevant. I got the clarification I needed on the video.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Anything else you want? Yeah.
You were talking about that woman who missed something and she felt like a man. In general, transsexualism, I think we don't talk much about in Judaism. I'm on Tumblr, and there's a lot of transsexual Jews on Tumblr. I personally think the commandment that a man should wear a woman's clothing and vice versa, it's a reflection of transsexualism. And I personally think that it's a shame that we're treating transsexualism in the way that we do, because many transsexuals end up killing themselves. They end up having mental illness and such. And I'm not the I don't know what's best for this person, but I just don't think we as Jews talk much about it. We should talk much more about it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what. Growing a beard, for example, I see you have a beard. So, growing a beard, for example, is some people say that it's lo silbash for a man to shave his beard is not not dressing like a female. Meaning, someone that shaves his beard, he's trying to be nice, he's trying to look young, he's trying to fit in, and those kind of stuff is stuff that a woman would do. You can look clean, you can look represented, you can look respectful, but you don't have to try to look younger. Looking younger is something that women do. So some people put shaving the beard in that category. But again, you see, learning Hasidic philosophy and things like that, I know that the world was built on the blueprints of the Bible. That means the Bible is right, no matter how you want to spin it. You can ignore it, but you can't get it. You can't spin it. So transgender, these kind of people, they're gonna kill themselves, or they're gonna get killed. You see, someone told me, you just ruined it for them. I said, why? He said, they're doing an amazing job annihilating themselves. Now you're giving them a lot of fanfare and attention. Now you're giving them someone else to blame for all their problems. They're doing a great job annihilating themselves. And here again, you see, this terrorist comes out that he was also he got sick, and he was letting out his rage. And you see, so what I'm saying is, you can even say that God can go to sleep, so to speak, and this is a self-implemented. God's just telling you, by the way, this is how I built my world. If you're going to go in this direction, you're not going to end up nice and dandy. It's just not going to work. I don't care if you believe in me or not. You can scream whatever you want, but it's not going to happen. It's not going to work. It's not, So transgender, all these kind of people, or people that do operations, anything that all these ideas. Whenever I'm seeing these things, I'm saying, who's funding millions of dollars into these campaigns? Who's providing the gay parade? Who's pushing for all these things to be taught, and for Planned Parenthood and all these things, which are opening the gateway for people to switch their gender and all kinds of stuff, or sign contracts with the government from 12 years old that all their babies belong to the government, or they want to sell their babies to the, or abortion clinics, all these things. Who's behind it? And the answer is, really, really evil people that don't want more humans. That's the facts on the ground for anyone that's, has enough time to learn about it. And the internet is a very big platform. That's what I believe.
You sound like you have some opinions leading maybe towards some conspiracy theory stuff. I'd call it, is that correct?
It could be, but I'm saying, I know that, for example, to spread Moshiach, Messiah, in our community, or to the whole world, it's an expensive campaign to do it official. To do it unofficial, you can do it real nice, and you can get by. But I see that, like, let's say the LGBT community has official funding and official backing, millions and millions of dollars, worldwide, campaigns. It's not just it's not just a community. It's a lot more than that. It's a global order, There's a big agenda here, and that's what if it would, and if I see them pushing their agenda so hard, so much, in Israel, for example, at a specific time of year, they'll put up gay flags in the entire Israel, straight up, So, there's no, like, in honor of the Rebbe's birthday, maybe someone's going to put up Moshiach flags in the whole Israel. Not happening. So when I see official things happening, I know they cost millions of dollars. I know someone's behind it. I'm trying to think who. And then you can call it a conspiracy theory, because it is going back a little bit further than regular people usually go. But when I get back there, I'm like, okay, this guy believes in depopulation, and this guy believes in that, and that's what their agenda is, to push this thing. They would never do it themselves, or they would do it themselves because it's part of their satanic rituals. But the fact is that it's not coming from a good place, and there is no good future for anyone that, usually these kind of people are very confused individuals. They're not rock solid, they're not straight-minded. Each one is arguing with the other one exactly about what's flying. There's no common denominator between all of them. The only thing that's common between all of them is that they all have a different opinion. That's how I see it, So I'm saying I don't see any good value here, and I don't think encouraging these people is doing them a favor. I actually think it's pretty much giving them a green light, like the Rebbe says. You're giving them a green light to self-destruct themselves. So why are people thinking that my video is offensive, when at the end of the day I'm just warning people, yo, there's a hole over here, you're all gonna fall in and die, and then go, oh no, don't be warning them, you're offending them. Okay, fine. I mean, also there's one more last thing. The guy who wrote Jew celebrates, he wrote Orthodox Jew celebrates the murder in Orlando. Obviously, you open the video, you don't see me with champagne with my friends celebrating and singing songs on guitars with a fire. I'm just random little 1 minute clip. I just looked at some stuff. What really ticked me off was when I saw that they were saying, and one of the people was on the way to the hospital in the police car, and we said a prayer for him, and they're like, oh, you said a prayer for him, real good. And then I put another post later, which God you're gonna pray to? The God that didn't see it happen, the God that knows it happened but doesn't care, or the God that said you're supposed to get killed if you do it? We'll keep you posted about which God.